Alright, I'm just going to do a quick rundown of how I use my grid and how I configure it to my liking to show what I want it to display on my screen while I'm healing. A quick rundown version considering I've screwed up the first two. Basically, if I cast Rejuve, Regrowth, or Wild Growth, or a Life Bloom on the target, it displays on my grid whether the heal is currently running on them. In order to show these buffs on the target, you have to type in /grid-config, and under status, auras, here's where you add your buffs or debuffs that you want to display on your target. So currently I have Life Bloom, Regrowth, and Rejuve currently displaying up on my screen. And if you currently don't have those up, you want to add them in by going to just auras here and adding the new buff, and just name it the exact same as your spell. I'll give an example by adding some random buff. So I'm going to add it some random buff, show if it's my actual buff, show if it's missing, show the duration on it. So anyway, in here you can show if it's your actual buff that it's running, you can show the duration of the buff, and you can assign it a color. I currently don't run a color on my Life Bloom because it shows up in the center square with the duration of how long it's going to run for. So I mean, you could take Regrowth and change it, it's a dark green, so when I cast Regrowth it shows a dark green square in the bottom right corner. Rejuve is a lighter green in the left hand corner. Wild Growth is a light yellowish in the top right corner. So I mean, after you add the buff into your grid, you can configure where it shows up in the frame, which is the top layout here, the frame layout. You can assign it to the border, health bar, healing bar, center text 2, center icon, top left icon, top right corner, bottom left corner, top right corner. You know, this is where I assign my HOTS. At top left corner I have aggro alert currently on it, so I know that if they have a red dot in the top left corner, they currently have aggro of the boss, or are currently going to get hit with a spell from the boss because he targeted them to cast it. So top right corner, I'm running my Wild Growth. I just went and added Wild Growth into the auras, and then now the buff appears here on the frame screen. So without this actually clicked on, it doesn't show up that Wild Growth on the target. But then if I click it, it shows in the top right corner. Bottom left corner, I'm running my Rejuve. Bottom right, I'm running my Regrowth. And that's basically a rundown of how I've edited it up for showing this. Center text, just do it to whatever you like it, whether they're dead, whether they're offline, whether you just wanted to show their name, whether they have a health deficit. I don't even know why health deficit's on, because I don't like seeing how much health they've lost over what their name is. I mean, if they've lost any health, obviously it's got to be healed back up, which will indicate how much health deficit they have on the actual healing bar in the back, because this bar will dissipate when they get hit, and when it dissipates all the way, they're obviously dead, and it'll then change to debuff of a ghost, which you do not want in a raid. I currently have mine set to unit name, and then you can also set in the frame options how long you want the name to be. I mean, you can't have it too long or else it'll be going off the ends of your actual grid that they're assigned to. So I mean, after editing this up, it's pretty straightforward after. I mean, you want to, if you have Life Blooms as the center icon, you want to go to the advanced options and edit whether it shows a cooldown. So when I have my Life Bloom up, you'll notice that it stacks and it has the cooldown count in the center. Without that turned on, it doesn't show the cooldown on it, and without the stack turned on, you don't know how many are stacked up on the target. And highlight when mouse over you want it to highlight, because then you know exactly who you're going to heal, even though maybe you miss the mouse actually being over the target. I don't know, for whatever reason, but you definitely want it to show. I also downloaded an extra add-on called Grid Mana Bars. It allows me to add a mana bar to whichever side. I chose bottom and choose the size of it, how big you want it to be. I like having a small banner bar at the bottom just in case I need to know if I need to give this person a innervate, because I don't need it myself. Like maybe the healer died and I had to battle res him and give him an innervate after. Or he's just really low on mana, I don't need the innervate myself, and then I can give him an innervate. And that's just a quick rundown of how I run my my grid, and if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.